Richard, you're the pastor of Avenue Community Church in Leicester. Can you tell us a little bit about the church?
Sure, yeah, well, Avenue is a church around about 10 years old, planted nearly 10 years ago. We are sort of membership in sort of the 80s, and about sort of around about 120, 130 on a Sunday morning. Fairly young church, so our average age of member is probably sort of late 20s, early 30s. We've got a few sort of older types, lots of children around, just the sort of stage of life a lot of our members are at. So yeah, it feels quite a lively gathering on a Sunday morning. That's sort of it's certainly a younger section of the population, we feel. I think a lot of people would love older church members in some ways, but we've got this core in their 20s and 30s, which makes it an exciting church to be part of.
And can you tell us a little bit about the community the church is located in Leicester?
Certainly, so it's in sort of South Leicester, very near the city centre, an area called Clarendon Park. So in some ways, kind of there's elements of a studenty area there, also kind of young singles, marrieds, often marrieds, no kids. People may move a little bit further out when they have a family, but we serve it. So I think actually we sort of reflect the area we're in by the age of the church. And again, a fair mix of people, different backgrounds, a bit of hidden poverty tucked away, but lots of people out in sort of coffee shops and bars in the local area. So again, quite a lively area to be part of as well.
Now, Richard, you didn't plant the church, but came as pastor about 4 years ago.
Yes.
What do you think are the challenges of pastoring a church that's a recent church plant? And what are the challenges for a church that's been in existence for about 10 years?
Yeah, I think one of the challenges from my perspective, I arrived probably well after the honeymoon period was over, in the sense that there was a great time of growth. I think it was around about 40 people helped plant the church, and very quickly actually the church reached to about the size we are probably still at. So in a sense, those first few years were a time of great excitement, chatting to people, and then there's a sense of actually what next. So I think some of those challenges are that when a church plant begins, you sort of have every incentive in the world to be growing, to be inviting to people, to be telling people the gospel. When you get to a point where just about things feel sustainable, you can afford certain things, then a lot of that incentive is gone. So it's the challenge for us as leaders is how to keep the gospel and mission at the center of what we're doing. We certainly wouldn't say we're always very good at that, but we're asking some quite big questions of ourselves as a church. And I think it is that sense of just encouraging people that growth is possible. It's interesting that even in a matter of years, you can begin to just think, oh, well, this is how it's always been. There's no real hope, prospect for change, even when within people's very recent memory, the church has doubled in size. So it's interesting how forgetful we can be about the power of the gospel. It's interesting how, even we can grow a bit tired of things, maybe just lacking some vision. So I think that sense of keeping moving things forward when pragmatically, on the surface, things feel a lot more stable. You can afford members of staff. You've got a good relationship with the school we meet in. But actually saying, well, nonetheless, we want to build on that, not just sort of settle into just comfort zone.
So what are the things that are encouraging you in the life of the church at the moment? And what would you say are your goals for the next few years?
Encouragements, it does feel a very happy church family. A loving family is quite a big ethos in our church. And I really see that people are committed to caring for each other. So I feel as a pastor, it's not just me seeking to pastor people. Other people are doing that, which is just a wonderful thing to see. And I take it for granted sometimes, but that is God's Spirit at work. I think actually, in one sense, leadership team staffing has been a great encouragement. We've been able to appoint sort of 2 staff workers in recent years, 1 part-time, 1 full-time, 2 women who work with us. And then since September, we've now got an assistant pastor in training working with us, Matthew Fox Lilly, part funded by the FIEC training fund, which was a great encouragement to us when we received that grant. So again, seeing some really godly, committed people wanting to see us grow as a church, so spurring me and the elders on, asking difficult questions, but also very servant-hearted in their desire to see things done. That is a great encouragement to me. So in one sense, I guess we are probably investing primarily in staffing at the moment, in a ministry team, but with that hope and prayer that we'll see numerical growth in the future. So plenty of encouragements of just being part of a team in ministry. My elders are a joy to serve alongside as well.
And you're about to revitalise your evening meeting this evening and launch something new.
Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit about what you're planning and what your hopes are for that meeting?
Yes, we've always had sort of an evening strand to things at Avenue. We've never called it an evening service. We've done evening seminars, we've called them, meeting sometimes in a local pub, sometimes in people's homes. And we're just doing things slightly differently, reflecting the different dynamics of the church congregation. Lots of families with young kids who find it a bit harder to come out in the evening. So we've cobbled ideas from various sources. We're going for sort of 5:30, we meet for tea. So families are invited to that, young kids as well, for half an hour. 6 o'clock till 6:20, we gather together to sing, to hear God's words or just read, to pray together. So quite a focused time there, but just trying to really sort of focus all of our eyes on the Lord Jesus. And then at 6:30, the families with young kids generally will go at that point, and then we have a couple of seminar streams running in different locations in the school building, and being able to be in a building where you've got different space for the evenings feels exciting there. We're also redoing our teenage work now, using the school building for that. So we're hoping this can be a real sense of equipping one another. We still see our centre of gravity being Sunday mornings and our home groups, but we think our evening seminars, that sense of you will get some people who perhaps will struggle to come out in the morning. We'd love to see some students, a bit more engagement with them as well. But it's really a sense of another way we can be encouraging and building one another up in the gospel and in the love of Jesus. So we're excited to see how it develops. It's an experiment, so we'll see how it goes.
What are you going to be covering in your seminars?
One seminar stream this term will be looking at big questions, so kind of dealing with maybe very common objections to Christianity, so science, other religions, suffering. And another seminar stream will look at sort of the big story of the Bible. We're calling it the story that makes sense of our story. And so looking at sort of the Bible in sort of 5 sessions and always thinking, what does this tell us about who we are, who God is, why we needed Jesus to come? And then we've got some very practical seminars towards the end of the term, things like resting for Jesus, working for Jesus. One seminar seems to be sort of even clubbing for Jesus. Some of the younger members thinking through, what does it mean to be socializing as a Christian? So hopefully some stimulating subject matter for people to be getting our heads around, thinking through what it means to follow Jesus in every area of our lives.